Today we're in Tynemouth in North Tyneside to discover a few historic coastal gems, including a World War I watchtower, a Chippy frequented by a rock star, and a special townhouse that saved lives during World War II. If you love discovering hidden gems around the northeast of England, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as I love being able to share the weird and wonderful history of our region. The houses in front of us at Percy Park Avenue may look like ordinary townhouses, but one in particular has an incredible story that helped to save lives. 55 Percy Park was home to more than 20 Jewish girls fleeing persecution in 1939, coming here via the Kindertransport rescue effort. The project to bring the girls from Germany and to set up the hostel in Tynemouth was led by David Summerfield, a jeweller whose name was a recognisable sight on the high street in the northeast. The 20 Jewish girls aged between 5 and 14 travelled through places including Germany, Austria and Czechoslovakia on Kindertransport to get to this townhouse on the Tyneside coast. Each girl was sponsored for about £50, the equivalent of £3,000 today, with a holiday home owned by Sylvia Fishkin being used as a place for the children to feel safe. They lived at the house for around a year, attending school locally and enjoying being next to the sea, before moving to safer accommodation in the Lake District. Unusually, the girls were kept together after the move and continue to be funded by the Tynemouth community. What a special and unique piece of history tied to this terraced house on the Tynemouth coast. Let's venture further to see what our next historic gem will be. This ornate building is the Grand Hotel, originally built as a summer residence in 1872 for the Duchess of Northumberland. Tynemouth was very popular with Victorian tourists, who flocked to the town to indulge in the spa waters, which, when recorded in 1912, the death rate in Tynemouth was the lowest in the kingdom. Famous guests including Dame Vera Lynn and the comedy duo Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy, who would make a point of staying in the Grand Hotel whenever they were appearing at the Theatre Royal in Newcastle. World War I took its toll on this poor hotel, with the officers indulging in heavy nights of drinking and playing billiards after heavy days of duty. The hotel had to be closed to the public until 1922 to restore it back to its former glory. Behind the grand houses at Tynemouth, you'll find a World War I and II watchtower. 47A Percy Gardens was owned by the War Office, operating as a coastal defence command centre. In 1916, a 6-storey concrete tower was constructed observing and controlling the 2 Tyne gun turrets, one in Seaton Sluice and the other at Marsden. To accurately hit a target with the guns, you needed to be able to see your target, so this 6-storey tower was the perfect spot to see across the coast. This helped to strengthen coastal defences following early German Zeppelin attacks. The tower was constructed from reinforced concrete and had a gun emplacement on the roof. As we walk further towards Front Street, we catch a glimpse of Tynemouth Castle and Priory through the gates, which is owned by English Heritage. It's a brilliant piece of history with even a gun battery that encircles the cliff top. Please let me know if you'd like to see a video on it. Down the bank is towards the pier and Lord Collingwood's monument, as well as the riverside walk that takes you along to North Shields. This is the Grade 2 listed clock tower and drinking fountain that was built in 1861 by Oliver and Lamb of Newcastle. I cannot recall if it was keeping time when I passed, but it's a beautiful focal point before we head down Front Street. Did you know that Jimi Hendrix is said to have visited this fish and chip shop? On the 10th of March 1967, following playing a show at Club A Go-Go in Newcastle, Jimi is thought to have ate fish and chips from this shop on one of the benches overlooking the Tynemouth coast. I'm not sure if this claim is entirely true, however it is plastered all over the windows of the shop, which makes a good talking point if you choose to have your chippy supper here. Next door to Marshall's is Deep North, which is my favourite foodie place in Tynemouth for the most delicious donuts and coffee. I was thinking about doing maybe a local's guide to some of the places I like to go in the northeast, as I know it can be difficult to truly choose where to go if you're unfamiliar with an area. So please let me know your thoughts on that. On the other side of the road, look down to see Tynemouth's Art Deco Lido. I filmed some of these clips a while ago when it was possible to go on the pool, but now it's cornered off. The Tynemouth outdoor pool was built in the 1920s and was created as a concrete saltwater tidal pool that would fill up with fresh water automatically each day with the movement of the tide. It was the pool that caused the demise of Whitley Bay's Table Rocks pool, which I've created a video on, so definitely check that out on my page if you're interested in the heyday of the northeast coast. The pool provided a safe spot to bathe without the risk of being carried out into the dangerous North Sea. There had been calls to build a pool in this location of Sharpness Point since the turn of the 20th century, after several people drowned while swimming in the North Sea. During the 20s and 30s, people were able to enjoy more leisure time and could take annual beach holidays to places like Tynemouth and Whitley Bay. Up to 2,000 sunbathers could fit on the terrace, with swimming galas, water polo and other water games being popular in the 1920s through to the 1970s. With the introduction of cheaper abroad holidays in the 70s, the pool fell out of favour and has been decaying ever since. It's incredible to believe that this was once a bustling place full of holiday makers, grabbing rental deck chairs, ice creams and tickets to see exciting events inside this pool. Much of their history is long gone, and it would be amazing if this pool was restored for future generations to come. Longsands Beach has a buried secret, a Victorian fountain which is buried underneath the sand. The Lion's Head fountain dates from the 1860s, covering the engine well at Tynemouth, but was gradually reclaimed by sand as it fell out of use. The fountain stands on the site of an iron salt mineral spring, with people believing that the water had health-giving properties. In 2009, it was dug out for a day to raise money for the Tynemouth Volunteer Life Brigade, and people had the opportunity to contribute £2 to help dig out the fountain, but now it is covered back by sand again. Its location is thought to be near Crusoe's somewhere. Along the road to your left is the old Boughton Lake and Park, which was opened in 1893 on land owned by the Duke of Northumberland and leased by Tynemouth Council. This park was very popular with model boat enthusiasts, with the boathouse in the park being the first building planned to house the new Tynemouth Model Boat Club. The Duke of Northumberland was an influential supporter of the club, with his agent helping the club to secure longer hours on the pond in 1908, seeing off the threatened dominance of rowing boats. As this is an open pond, please be careful when approaching the edges. The edges look like the perfect angle to send boats off on their journeys across the pond, but I can imagine it's very easy to fall in. Up these stairs is a little memorial garden, and I think it also leads to the bowling green. Today the pond is more likely to be full of ducks than model boats, but it's a lovely little area with benches if you fancy some calm away from the bustling beaches. Our last stop for the day is somewhere I haven't been inside yet, but if looks goes for something, I'm super excited to check it out sometime. Tynemouth Castle Inn was built in the 1930s and has been run as a hotel under various names for all that time. Upon researching, I think there's even an unexploded World War II bomb outside the hotel, which was dropped above Longsands Beach in April 1941. I cannot believe how much history we've uncovered just from one small part of Tynemouth. I hope you liked this Hidden Gems of Tynemouth video. Please check out my other videos, as I'm sure that you'll discover some fabulous historic places to visit. And I'll see you soon.